Let's go, Buffalo. Yeah. What do you got there, Nate? What's going on, everybody? Go
Birds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Weekly Beer Show. Woohoo! Hey. I'm Travel Man Dan. That right there is
Nate Peachtree.
Nate Peachtree. All right, a little foreshadowing, not foreskin. All right, here we go, guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. Who do we have in the room? Please let us know in the comments. If this is your first time hopping on the show, thank you so much for joining us. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do here on the show. It's a weekly beer show. So, Nate, what do we go ahead and review?
2 beers.
That's right. We got 2 delicious beers. And today's beer is all about the state of Georgia. Oh, right. Man, we got some great ones that were sent to us by today's special guest. So we're going to bring in a guest in a little bit. So awesome. Sit back, relax. We got a segment like What Would You Rather? There's going to be no good news today, although there's lots of good things going on. Damien, welcome to the show. We're going to go ahead and we're going to spin around 2 beers, and we're going to surprise you with something at the end. We got another segment called Show and Tell. Chris Duncan, hey, welcome, my friend. That was an awesome game. We also have a really fun segment at the end where I give you a quote of the show, and all together swirled around scoring the 2 beers. We'll let you know what we think. Thank you so much for hopping on. This is your first time joining us. Nate, if you're a returning guest like Chris, Damien, and everybody else, tell them what we do.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Yeah.
All right.
Soundbite.
Those of you returning 2 beers, we take it to the review card. We got 5 different categories, up to 5 points each. Total potential 25 points. Danny, is it going to be an awesome beer today? Brian, the beer snob, we're going to hit 25 points.
Ooh, I don't know. Today is definitely a good day to go ahead and drink. And then we got Nutmeg to Palmetto. Welcome to the show. Today could be the first day that we hit 25. Thank you so much, Nate. Thank you, everybody, for hopping on. We got some fun stuff going on. We already have 9 people in the room. Guys, if you're here, please go ahead and not hit that like button, okay? Hit the like button right now. What that does, it helps the algorithm, helps our show grow. We'll continue to go ahead. You may think we're building slowly, but boy, are we building. Dave's TV, welcome. Good evening, my friend. And Dave Z from Big Beer in Front. Jose, Big Beer in Front. That's a good one. Big Beer. All right, the Big Beer Challenge. All right, guys. So, yes, today's going to be an awesome show. Nate, what state are we doing all the beers from again?
The Peach State.
The Peach State, which is?
Georgia.
It's not Montana?
I don't know. Do they grow peaches in Montana?
They might. I mean, they got
fertile. Good. It could be isolated peach growth.
Montana's got very fertile land.
They do.
All right, but I don't know what it takes to grow peaches. I've never grown a peach tree, but that's right. That's exactly what we have here today. My Colts are the worst team in the league, and yet somehow a half a game first. Yeah, we can't figure those guys out either.
Reich he might be out of town soon.
Who's that?
Frank Reich.
Yeah. I mean, depending on
Bill and Philadelphia Eagle, by the way.
I know, and it'd be a crazy move when the Bills win the Super Bowl this year. If Ken Dorsey gets promoted to a head coach, and maybe they bring back Frank Reich finally.
This is a great call here, Chris Duncan. Midnight Train to Georgia. Love that song.
Sing it, bro. How does it go?
Oh, I can't sing.
Come on, give us your best minute.
Fire Frank now. You know, everybody was saying Frank Reich was the guy was most important when the Eagles won the Super Bowl back in 2017 with Nick Foles. Doesn't look like that's the case anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Rocky Mountain. Look at yes, we have Xi Jinping here. Welcome. 你好，你吃饭了没有？好，谢谢。All right, welcome. He fired Ballard too. His luster is gone. Okay, all right. Well, me and Nate are very happy because our football teams won today. And man, I got to be honest with you, Nate. I was just telling Nate, go Birds. I was not looking forward to today's game at about the first quarter ending. I thought we were going to lose 51-10. Somehow the Bills ratchet down, and they went ahead and won by 3 points. So it was a great game. Bills were able to contain Lamar Jackson again, keeping him to only 50 yards running and about 200 yards passing. Nate, how'd your game go?
It was sloppy. There was a lot of rain in Philadelphia. Jacksonville, old Super Bowl winning coach Doug Peterson returns back to Philadelphia the first time since they fired him.
Visor.
There was a lot on the line for this one. Jacksonville, kind of an emerging team. The Eagles, kind of looking like the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL. And they started off down 14-0 and ended up winning 29-21, I think is the final score. So ugly game, really bad weather. But it was good to see Dougie P back. He's an awesome guy. That was fun.
Yeah. Did you like Dougie P and the visor?
I guess. I don't know. It's better than when people use pencils or highlighters, I guess.
Christopher Andrew says, do I have to green jello? Nah, you're good, man. This really isn't a green jello crowd, but if you want to, you go for it, Chris. You should start wearing a visor like Dougie P, Nate.
I'm not a visor guy.
I never was a visor guy.
Yeah, I maybe I had one. I think I got one in Disney World. So I was probably sick.
But do you remember when the hat shops were actually selling visors, and that was the thing? It was like, I don't know. Was, hey, Bubba, welcome to the show. Welcome, my man. Bubba just found out about Jersey Mike's. What's the bet of the Bills and Eagle?
Not too early to think about. People have been talking about it for 4 weeks now. Listen, but the Bills need to they don't have a running game. It's a big concern. At least it would be for me if I was a Bills fan. They cannot run the ball. Josh Allen's awesome. The defense is great. But that's kind of a big hole if they can't figure out how to do that in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll figure it. Mahomes due for a rebound tonight. This is what I got to say about Mahomes.
He's awesome.
You like Mahomes' brother?
His brother?
I heard you're a big Jackson Mahomes TikTok fan.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know. Yeah, he's a big TikToker. Good for him. Good for him. Christopher Andrew says it's Kessler. I know who you are, Kessler. Love you back, my friend. Hope you're doing well. But let's get into the show. Guys, we're talking Georgia beers today. We got 2 delicious beers. Before we get to these beers, I wanted to talk to you about the person that donated these beers or sent them out to Nate, who then sent them to me. The comments are here. It goes to Facebook as well. This guy, we're going to bring him on. He is another beer tuber, thanks to Dave Z. I'll steal that again. But another beer tuber. He's got a great channel. He's a great personality. Guys, please welcome in today's guest, Brian the Beer Snob. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Brian?
Just living life, trying to recover from my vacation. Just a week on vacation. It was long overdue. You know, with the whole COVID thing, we hadn't taken a real vacation since 2020, and just went and unwound for a whole week in Costa Rica. It's fine. I have a day to recover, and then I got to go to work tomorrow, but that's okay. I'll get my rest while I'm at work. They make us take a break every 2 hours there.
Oh, damn. You got one of those gigs. And, you stretch it to whatever, 15 minutes. You're like, oh, yeah, I worked 6 hours and had 3 breaks. It was great.
What's Firemaker?
Well, Firemaker is a brewery here in Atlanta, and the billboard right outside of the brewery says it's the #2 beer in America. I don't know if it is. That's just what the sign says. It's a fantastic beer. It's a fantastic brewery. I've been there. I do love it, but unfortunately, nutmeg to palmetto, I did not send Firemaker.
Well, it doesn't matter. You did send beers, and Brian, thank you so much. Before we get into you, who you are, what you do, where you're at, all that kind of stuff, let's go ahead and introduce today's first beer. So today's first beer, and you can talk us through it. We're going to try something that we haven't done in a while. And this one, it comes from a Pontoon Brewing, and it is called Crushing Waves. All right, it's a Berliner style Weiss. Is that what it says, Nate?
Yes, it is a Berliner style Weiss. It is a German style sour.
German style. It's with tart cherries and pineapple, so it's going to be a bit fruity. That's pretty cool. Nate, what's the APV on this guy?
The ABV is 6.3%, I believe. So it's a little bit on the stronger side. Is you can get into those sours that are imperial, in the 8 to 9%. This is not one of those. It's kind of hanging out in that lower range. So I expect it to be slightly lighter in body and not quite so heavy and thick as some of the other imperial or pastry sours.
Is this is a sour then?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. And what are we doing on the show, guys?
Crack them, smell them, taste them.
That's right, baby. So let's crack them. Okay. So not bad. I don't smell a lot of the pineapple or the cherry. Do you guys smell a lot of it?
I can smell these cherries are tart, and I'm getting like a tart aroma.
Yeah, I'm definitely picking up some cherry. I'm getting a little bit of pineapple, but it's really more of it's kind of like an apple cider vinegar kind of scent, to be honest.
It is.
That's what I'm picking up, and now it is more of an apple cider vinegar. But hey, cracked them, sniffed them. Go Bills, Mikey! Yeah, baby. All right, and Bubba, I agree. Cool can. All right, here we go. Oh,
you can see Brian there is versed in the hard pour.
I live the hard pour.
Okay.
So for those of you who are unaware of the hard pour, there's a couple of different styles of ways to pour your beer into a glass. One of them is the traditional 45-degree angle where you tilt up about halfway through. I think it's the 45, 50, 90 rule. So you start at 45, you tip up, and when you get about halfway, you go to 90, and you just hard pour. A hard pour that Brian's talking about, the reason I brought it up is because Dave's TV does a hard pour, Chase does a hard pour, Brian the Beer Snob does a hard pour. That's literally taking your can, a straight 90 degrees upside down hard pour. The whole idea here is that you're trying to get rid of some of the effervescence, the carbonation, so it's not sitting in your stomach. That's what gives you bloat. Some people agree with this method. Most people do not. That's just the way it is. But there's a select group of people, Brian being one of them, where the hard pour is more enjoyable for them.
Well, I can tell you, I poured like, and I'm gonna use the finger quotes. I did pour like normal people a majority of my life. When I learned the hard pour, I was actually in Germany, and that's where I learned it. And I was totally disgusted when the bartender over there did that to my beer. I said, I'm an American, and we don't like big heads on our beers. Can you just dump that out and pour me it down the side of the glass? And when they said no, I was like, okay, talk to me. What's the reason? So she explained the reasons to it. And I said, okay, I respect when it comes to beer. There are certain countries that I have a lot of respect for when it comes to their beer. And Germany is probably at the top of that list. So if a German bartender is going to serve me a beer that way, and when I ask why, they're going to actually tell me why, I'm processing it. So when I get home, I'm going to check it out myself. So I started hard pouring at home, and I found out that it truly was a much more enjoyable experience. But I'll tell you what, the haters are always going to hate. I always get comments on my videos like, oh, what you need to learn how to pour beer. I'm like, no. You need to understand there's multiple ways to do multiple things. And just because a majority of people pour it that way doesn't mean it's correct. It doesn't mean my way is right and your way is wrong, or your way is right, my way is wrong. It doesn't matter. I'm the one that's drinking the beer, so I want to pour it the way that gives me the most enjoyment. And this is what you see. Look, this head, now granted, this is a sour beer, and sour beers typically the head does not last very long anyway.
Yeah. Mine's completely flattened out.
It does not decarbonate the beer at all. And if you look, I mean, a lot of people haven't, researched, but you can go to YouTube and type in like old beer commercials from back in the 50s and whatnot. All of the commercials in those days hard poured, every single one of them. There was even one commercial where it was like a karate, like you remember the Karate Kid, you got the sensei and the student was pouring the beer down the side of the glass, and the sensei whacked him with a stick and said, no, pour it hard. Because that's how it was. But somewhere along the lines, Americans, I think we got caught up in that microwave society where we need instant gratification, like right now, because waiting 2 minutes is too long. Yeah. If you pour beer softly, you don't have big head, you can drink it immediately. But if you hard pour it like I do, I don't have to wait 15 minutes to drink the beer. I can drink it. You know, I do let it settle down for about a minute before I drink it, but it is you know, that's a whole nother topic as to why I do that. But
No,
it's the way
that's
I
great.
enjoy it.
I love all that information, and I found out more about it recently too. But hey, let's go ahead and try this sucker out. Whether you hard pour, slow pour, medium pour, doesn't matter. You're still pouring in a cup. Cheers to you guys, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Cheers! Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's freaking good. Oh man, that is good. All right, this is smashingly good for me. I love the tartness. I love the cherry flavor. I don't taste a lot of the pineapple. I taste a lot of the tart cherry on my first sip. It's got a clean, crisp, nice, really nice flavor right off the bat. Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, so I am getting pineapple. I feel like pineapple's kind of the baseline. You know, it's not punching you in the face, but it's there. It's subtle, where the cherry kind of slaps you a little bit. I like it. I'm a big fan of sours. So this is a pretty good beer for me. I'm enjoying it.
I do Brian, like. What was your take on the first sip of this thing?
Sours are a style of beer that I don't like sour things. So I didn't think I would like sour beers. However, I love sours. Now, to me, this beer tastes more tart than sour. I do like the sour beers that are so tart, they're so sour that they kind of, from that first sip, they turn your face inside out. And now I'm a thinking man, so I've handed people beers that were like that, and from the first sip, they're like, "Oh no, and they hand it right back, and I'm like, "Listen, you just got to get over that initial punch in the face, sour." It honestly, a sour, a true super sour, which this is, like I say, this is still good. I like this.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't classify it as a true sour, because it is, there's a difference between tart and sour, and if you can get past that initial shock of a sour and just keep sipping in it, it gets better. It gets better, and
yeah,
it really does have fantastic flavors.
Yeah, I love. I'm along the lines of the same thing as you. And Nate actually started turning me on to this about a year ago. He was like, "Nah, bro, like sours are the thing. Sours are the thing." And I kind of was like, "Yeah, you know, whatever, you know, sours, you know." But then I started drinking them, and I love like sour kombucha, and I love all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of that. Carlos C, you're the man, brother.
For those of you,
thank you so much. This is what we're drinking, guys. It's pretty dang good right off the bat. It's called Crushing Waves. It's from Pontoon Brewing, and that's in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the brewery and a little bit about this beer and the styles and stuff like that as the show continues. We got Brian, the beer snob, here. I want to go ahead and address something right away. Both me and Nate are very pro-military, police officers, red line, blue line, like all that kind of stuff. So, Brian, I understand you're a Marine veteran.
That's correct.
We just wanted to say thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate it. Thank you for keeping us safe. And if the call was ever needed, if you were ever in combat and stuff, whatever it is, thank you so much for your service, man. Appreciate that.
It. It was an honor to do it.
That's awesome. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag in the background, I don't know if we're going to, talk about that. What do you think, Nate? I don't know. That's what I think, fellas.
Hey. Listen, I'm a Tom Brady fan, so I'm okay with it. But we got to run through. They got to run through the NFC, and I think that's going through Philadelphia. So we'll see.
Right now, and I think they might be on right now. They're playing Kansas City. So you guys were talking about Mahomes earlier. Well, guess what? Mahomes isn't going to have a good day tonight.
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah, we got to commend you. We haven't crossed that hurdle. We switched the time to 5 o'clock because we were like, you know what? It works out pretty good. We're both East Coast teams, but there's a couple of Sunday night games for the Eagles, and thank you, Carlos Z, and couple for the Bills. I think we got one. Dave's TV. No. Oh, stop the presses. Dave's TV. I love. So anyway, football, blah blah blah. let's talk about you here, Brian. What do you do? And you're a beer snob, but what exactly do you do that's snobby? And like, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, that name kind of gives people the wrong impression of who I am because I'm not snooty, I'm not uppity. That name just means that I'm just like a lot of people out there who, from the moment you first started drinking beers, I don't think anybody starts out drinking what I call bougie beers. You know, the expensive beers. You know, you just want to drink as much beer as you can get for the littlest price you can get it. And unfortunately, that means the macros. You're going to be drinking, you know, Busch and Budweiser and Coors and stuff like that. But I'm not complaining because I drank those for decades and I absolutely loved them. But when I got a little older and I started brewing my own beers at home, and I started working through the different styles, because that's not something I would ever have done. You could ask me, what's the ABV of a Coors? And I'd be like, what's ABV? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
When you drink those beers, you're not concerned with ABV, because if you were, you wouldn't be drinking those beers, because they're all very light. They're 4%. You might get
Brian,
a 5% one. You know what I mean? They're
don't
all
worry,
day.
I still call it. I was going to say,
You're just
don't worry, I
slamming
call
those
it
all day
ABV.
long. You know what I mean? But these beers that I drink now, I'm just trying to educate people. That's why I know on your channel you do score beers. On my channel, I don't, because the people that I'm trying to reach are people that are like I used to be. And I just want to say, you know, like if you like Budweiser, this would be a good beer to kind of get you moving into the craft direction, because it's not too different. It's got a little bit more flavors going on. You know, and I don't do like a Beer Advocate or Untapped, because most of the beer reviewers out there do those, and I just wanted to be different on my channel. I just wanted to talk in a language that most people would understand. Like Joe Blow, who lives next door and drinks Budweiser. If I went and started talking hops to him, he'd probably scratch his head and be like, "What are you talking about? I mean, what do you?"
Wait, is his name really Joe Blow?
You know, but there's different types of hops, and the hops all do different things. It all depends on when they add it in the brewing process. Is it going to give it bitterness? Is it going to give it flavors like grapefruit, or is it going to taste like a pineapple? I mean, some beers actually use fruit to get those flavors, but most of those beers use hops, because there's so many different varieties that give so many different flavors. It all just depends. But the average person, I'm going to say, doesn't know those things. And that's what I just try to bring out, is I try to get them to at least try something that's not going to be too wild and wacky. Because if you're used to a Budweiser and I give you an IPA, it's too different. They're not going to like it. But pale ales kind of get you going in that direction, because they've got the flavors. They're just kind of toned down a lot.
Sure.
So,
well, hey, we got a comment here from Wish You Were Beer. Hello, guys. I'm not sure who's on the show, but welcome. Good to see you. Cheers to you. I don't know if you know Brian, the beer snob, but definitely someone to check out. Now, I see you're at 616 subscribers, and you got 405 videos, so you're definitely putting the work. Let's try to get Brian, the beer snob, to 1,000 by Christmas. What do you say, guys? Please go ahead and post.
I would love that.
Yeah, post after you post our videos. Please post Brian, the beer snob. We really appreciate that. You know, spread the love. Very cool, very knowledgeable, and this is not I like toning it down, but a very regular guy who talks about beer. So, you know, definitely might be the spin and take you're looking for. Hey, Daniel and Tiffany. Yes, that's awesome. Now, Brian, you have to get in touch with these guys. Daniel and Tiffany run a show with a guy named Phil and Vera, and they run a show called Wish You Were Beer. They're every Thursday evening, and it's I believe it's 8 p.m. Nate, East Coast time.
Correct.
Yeah, so 5 o'clock West Coast if you're watching. Definitely really good people. Got an awesome take on beer, and they do a lot of fun, cool stuff where they're actually really close with their community, and they go out and they actually brew their own beers. We've tried one of their beers that they actually brewed themselves, like literally, like Tiffany was dumping the hops into the thing in the cauldron and brewing it up and all that, and they sent it to us. Yeah, so definitely check out Wish You Were Beer. Phil, Tiffany, welcome. Or I'm sorry, Daniel and Tiffany and Phil and Vera, thank you so much. But yeah, back to this beer, guys. What are you thinking? Are you enjoying it, Nate?
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of right up my alley. I like tart beers. This kind of hits the nail on the head. I'm enjoying it.
Now, Brian said something interesting earlier that I got to agree with him. And he said something like along the lines of, tart is different than sour. Like when you have a sour beer, like a true sour, it's gotta peel back your face kind of taste to it. Almost you don't know how to interpret it as it's coming down. This thing is ultra tart. Like you taste all the cherries. It's like puckering up. You ever get that little tingle in your jawline over here? What the hell is that?
No, yeah, there's a term for it.
Really?
Yes.
I get it when I drink sours, and I get it when I drink Dippas, the double IPAs. You know what I'm talking about, Brian? You get that weird, like, it happens for a quick couple of seconds. It's like a little tingle right in this area, and you're like, you'll be drinking with someone, and when it's happening, you like stop and look over, like, what the hell was that? It's a weird thing to analyze. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's an interesting thing. So, Brian, what day is your show, and when can people check you out?
My videos come out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Last week, I did not have any videos out because I was on vacation. I did one live real quick, but I was on vacation. I didn't want to have to be held to a schedule while I'm on vacation. I didn't want to wake up to an alarm and have alarms set throughout the day that I needed to do certain things. So I did not have any content last week, but I will have content coming out tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
We'll be there.
Awesome. So your content isn't live; it's all pre-recorded, or in the business we say pre-recorded, right? But you film and edit your stuff.
I do. I'm not one of those beer reviewers who films it on a phone and just immediately uploads it. I do it old school with a camera, and then I spend a lot of time editing it, which as a side effect of me doing this channel, I've really fallen in love with the editing process. I do use a lot of green screen. Like I said, I want my beer reviews to be different than everybody else's. If you look at my page and you look at my videos and you scrolling through my thumbnails, every single one of them is different. I mean, there's a lot of beer reviewers, when you look at their page, it's the same picture, it's the same person. The only thing changes is the shirt and the beer, but everything is the same. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be different. So one thing that I had experimented with, because a lot of people who tune into YouTube and they search out beer reviews, that is a very, very small niche.
Yeah.
So most beer reviewers have kind of like something else that their channel does. And I wanted to keep mine 100% beer related, but I started a playlist, and it's called TV shows that never were but should have been. And I just take existing TV shows, I tweak it to change it to be beer related, and I film it. Now those take a lot of time to film. It's a lot of editing, but I found out that I love doing them. I just can't put them out fast enough because I'm a one-man show here. Yeah. And what I do is I try to involve other channels, whether they're beer channels or if they're channels about anything under the sun. I reach out to other channels, and a lot of channels have collaborated with me to make my vision become a reality. And I'm very thankful for those people. It's something that I want to pursue more. I've actually been thinking about, and I've never mentioned this on my channel, but I do 3 beer reviews a week.
Nice.
And I'm thinking about toning it down to maybe 1 beer review a week and concentrating more on doing those TV shows that never were but should have been, just because those are what give me they're incredibly fun to work with a bunch of collaborators. It's hard when we're not all in the same room. Yep. It's easy if we're all here and we shoot it and it doesn't work out, and I say, oh, we got to reshoot that scene. But if you're in California and you're in Nevada and I'm working with somebody in Canada, and I just have to work with what if you're going to take time out of your day to send me something that I've asked for, and I'm not paying for it, I'm just asking, hey, would you do this for me? And they send it. I just have to kind of build around what they send me. But it's so gratifying. I'm not a Hollywood movie maker by any means. My videos are about beer. I'm not curing cancer. I'm not solving the world's problems. I'm just trying to make funny beer related content. But that really is what I like to do. So you heard it here first on the weekly beer show. I might be throttling back. I'm still going to do beer reviews, but I want to do more of those collaborations with other fine creators out there to make funny beer related videos, because it's just it's where I seem to be getting called to.
Well, here's an idea for you right off the cusp. I think this one is like, what do you think about like Three's Company meets the A-Team, but they sit around and they just drink all day in the apartment?
Okay, so this is what I love about this. So when I throw an idea at somebody, meaning a channel that I'm asking to collaborate with, when I throw them an idea, they always do what you just did. They have they have an aspect that I hadn't thought of. They come back to me with a what if we did this as well? And I'm like, man, I never would have thought of that, because usually I'm laser focused on one idea. So I don't see off to the side. But what you did is combine two shows, and I've never thought of doing that. Usually,
just ask Nate. I've been to here quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I heard that I might have seen you recently. I was talking to Dave's TV last week before my vacation, and I told him that I had watched. Was it the Maverick? I watched Maverick in the theaters, but then I watched Maverick on the plane flying to Costa Rica, and I had that flashback. I said, Dave told me that the guy in the background, that's who was it? Somebody on one of the football scenes or whatever. They said in the background they had to they shot it, and it wasn't the actor who they actually shot. It was somebody else. You know anything about that?
It was Maverick, and I've been called twice. The one time I couldn't do it. I forget what movie it was, but John Hamm. And for Maverick, I was able to be on Top Gun. It was cool. It was the scene where Tom Cruise is teaching the cadets, and they get into a fight. If you look in the back, John Hamm is in the back, and that was me I got to work on it for 2 days, but for me, it was fun because I got to meet Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, and I was part of that little cast for the day. John Hamm basically couldn't make it, so they grabbed someone that looks similar to that actor, and by no means I didn't speak, I didn't do it. All I did is show up and hang out. But going back to what you were saying about the YouTube channel, it's absolutely falls in line with what my channel is too, because it's travel, it's food, it's beer, and it's kids review book, reading out loud books. And the reason I always tell Nate and other people is you got to have your why. Why do you want to do it? Well, for me personally, it was because I'm an entertainer and I like to entertain, and it's my channel. It's like my UHF, if you will. If you ever seen UHF, so do whatever you want, Brian. I big time encourage you. Make all the different videos you want. Keep going at it. Travel Man Dan is John Hamm's stunt double. Kind of more like a body double. John Hamm doesn't really do much stunts, and if he does, they bring in a real stunt guy. Now my friends are real stunt guys. I'm more of a body double, I guess, by default. But yeah, I strongly encourage you. Whatever you want to do, make YouTube like the network, and then your channel is your channel, and then the different TV shows on your channel is like your whole thing. So awesome. Yeah, that's your different shows. You have your travel, your food, your beer, whatever. Anyway, yada yada yada. Cheers, guys. This is what we're drinking. Nate, do you like this Pontoon Brewing?
I do. It's probably something. First of all, I'd never heard of the brewery, so the fact that Brian was able to send this to us, we get to try something new. Really like that. Yeah, I like the Berliner style white. I like Berliner Weiss, so it's a good beer. This is a good one. It's definitely tart, but it's hitting the description pretty closely, so I like that.
Yeah, this is a beer like I couldn't drink a sour right after I just drank a sour. I love sours, but I would need to break it up with a beer flavored beer between having another one. But this one, like I said, because it's not an ultra sour, it's more tart. I think I could actually drink a couple of these in a row myself.
Yeah, this one's good.
Confusion is what you're talking about, right? So the idea that if you're drinking something sour, for you to keep drinking that sour thing, you got to go back and get something spicy or fatty or salty, right?
Yeah, you got to break it up a little bit and.
Hey, you're eating a steak, you want a tater tot, That's it. But hey, guys, let's go check out this Pontoon Brewing. Nate, can we go on a brewery tour? Can we?
Let's do it. All right, guys. So, hey, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what the Berliner Weiss is I'm not sure how many times we've actually discussed that on the beer show. I don't think we've actually reviewed one before, Danny.
I don't think we have.
But from what I understand from the Berliner Weiss, it's from Berlin, Germany. That was created sometime in the 17th century. Main characteristics, I think, have a sourness, and like Brian and Danny were both saying, a tartness. But the greatest thing about it, when I was researching it before the show, was that they call it the Champagne of the North, which kind of is like champagne of beers. I like that. There is a bit of champagne quality to this.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
It's almost like a mimosa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what it
probably, yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to kind of just preface the brewery tour with that, since we're drinking a Berliner Weiss and we have not talked about it before on the show. But here we go, guys. Here are the credentials. You can see them right here. They do have representation on Instagram, Twitter, and they have their own website. They are located, please correct me, Brian, if I am wrong in any of these points. I'm just going off of internet searches. It looks like they're based out of Sandy Springs, Georgia. Georgia right there is the red state in the southeast quadrant of the United States, for those of you who live outside of America.
Georgia.
Brian, anything about Sandy Springs that's notable?
Well, that's north part, so that's considered like Metro Atlanta. So Atlanta is, the capital of Georgia, and it's up in the northwest portion. And I live there's 13 counties around Atlanta that are considered Metro Atlanta, and Sandy Springs is one of those. It's on the north side of Atlanta. But the thing about Pontoon, I've had several of their beers, different styles. They had one that was fantastic. Do you guys like smoky beers?
Yes, or Roush beer.
They have one. It's called Tall, Dark, and Smoky, and it just has a delicious smoked flavor to it. I didn't see that one. I would have sent that one to you, honestly, because I'd had it before and I like it. But I wanted to send you guys beers that I had not yet tried, so that it would be like a first time experience with you guys on your show. The Crushing Waves. When I saw what it was, I said, okay, that's that style. And then the other style of beer that I sent you was a completely different style. I wanted to send you two different things, not knowing how either one of them were going to taste. But I'm happy with this because I just wish, I don't know what Pontoon's distribution is. I don't know if this is something that a lot of people can find all across the United States, or if it's just right here in Atlanta. But I think Pontoon is a great brewery, and it's worth seeking out. If you can find it, give it a try.
Yeah. So you guys can see we're in Sandy Springs, Georgia here. Today's beer is the Crushing Waves. Brian, thank you for that detail. If anybody's ever traveling to Georgia, please go check out Pontoon Brewing in Sandy Springs. Today's beer, Crushing Waves, as we mentioned several times, this is a Berliner Weiss. The ABV, kind of heavy, coming in at 6.3%. Certainly not a light beer, not a heavy beer, but in the middle. Untapped ratings, 4,000 check-ins for this, so it's been around for a minute. And at 3.71 out of 5, it's actually a pretty respectable score. You can see on the right here, they have just basically what the design of the can is. I like these kind of rectangular little, logos that they kind of put on the cans. I think this is pretty cool. This is a slide that means nothing. Many great stories begin with a beer. So Pontoon Brewing, I want to tell you a little bit about the brewery itself. Pontoon Brewing was founded by a group of longtime pals and home brewers who are passionate about developing awesomely scrumptious beer for the pontoon lifestyle. By the way, those of you who are unaware of what a pontoon is a large kind of slow boat / vessel with two kind of cylindrical, I don't know, flotation devices that they sit on. It is not used for speed. It is used for like 10 to 12 people, probably drinking on the boat and just kind of chilling out.
Party boat.
We all shared a passion for craft beer, and home brewing together on the weekends quickly became something we always look forward to. Following long discussions about attempting our dreams, we decided to share our passion and start pontoon brewing back in 2014. The pontoon lifestyle is the idea of escaping the daily stresses and relaxing on a pontoon boat. For those unfamiliar, a pontoon boat is commonly known as a slow-moving party platform. It can't go far, it can't go fast, so might as well drink.
Exactly. It's perfect.
Hey, you go back real quick. Look at the guy's shorts are like American flag. I like it. But anyway, nice.
So here's a couple of the people that started. For the first couple of years, we've been contract brewing. For those of you that don't know what contract brewing is, you use another brewery. You come up with a recipe, you come up with an idea, you pay them to make it, and then you sell and distribute it yourself.
Party barge.
Kind of popular, and it's something that happens quite often, to be honest with you. One thing led to another, and our team grew. Our families grew. And in late 2016, we broke ground in our own brick and mortar facility where we could brew our hearts out. We opened our doors for the first time in December 2017, welcoming in next era of our grassroots saga. I love the story. Anytime you're starting with a group of friends that are doing it in their garage, I'm all about that.
Yeah,
that's what this whole community is about, is people elevating. They're finding a path. They're finding something interesting. They're doing it through beer. In January 2018, we celebrated our grand opening in Sandy Springs, Georgia. This marked a huge milestone in our history as friends and home brewers and propelled us further into our mission to create radically awesome brews for the pontoon lifestyle. There's a picture of them right there.
Wait, can you go back to that picture, Nate? What I like is in this picture, you see the same three people as you see in the previous one. You know what I mean? Like you see, I can see the guy with the Atlanta, the guy next to him with the hat backwards, and then all the way to the left. Same three guys. So you know that they're all stayed good friends and created something. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's fun, man. Like, isn't that what everything's about? Whether it's family or friends and you're collaborating with each other. So here you can take a picture of their brewery. We opened our doors for the first time in December 2017. Becoming the first microbrewery in Sandy Springs. Something's being cut out there. New home, and we have a lot more than beer to share with you. Take a peek around. So there's a picture of the brewery. Here's a couple of pictures of the inside of the brewery. Hey, Brian, tell us a little bit about it. Have you been to this location? Where did you pick up the beer? Did you actually go to the brewery to pick it up, or you just found it in a local spot?
I bought it in my local store, but here's the thing. So I've lived in Atlanta since 1998, but I did not go to my first brewery until January of this year. I know really? I'm slow to get into it. My channel's only been around since May 1st of 2020. But I went to several. I've gone to several, but there's just so many that I've still got a lot more that I've got to go to. But I can tell you that I have not been to this particular brewery yet, but I've been drinking their beers for quite some time, and I do like them. I will eventually get up to their brewery over in Sandy Springs. That's a little bit. I live on the west side of Atlanta. This is on the northern part. It'd probably take me like an hour to get there. So
I love this comment coming in from Nutmeg to Palmetto. He said, Brian had a hard time giving up those Miller Lights.
Oh, he brought up Miller Lights, so I got to mention this. I had one of my Marine Corps buddies. He passed away a couple of weeks ago, and I got to go to his memorial services up in Connecticut, October 15th weekend, and Miller Lite was his beer. And I'm gonna have to drink some. Up there we're gonna be celebrating his life. I'm gonna have to drink some. I might as well review it while I'm there. I'm not really looking forward to it because I'm not really into light beers. I'm not a light beer guy, but it's warranted. Hey, it needs to be done, and
under the circumstances, sorry about your friends and your fellow soldier and Marine, and but I'm sure it'll taste a little bit different. But
yeah,
this is what we're drinking now, guys. It is from Pontoon Brewing. Nate, thanks for taking us on that little brewery tour. It's called Crushing Waves. Let me get in focus here. I don't know. There it goes. Love being in LA. I this time not so much, but my first go around LA, and I'll talk about this on the design. I was very well connected to the graffiti world and the graffiti artists here. I was in the nightclub business, and somehow those two were connected. But love the artwork. This is what we're drinking. Let's go ahead, whack this down, and give it a score, guys. All right. Taste. I love this taste. I love cherry tartness. I would drink this. It was non-alcoholic. I would drink this if it was alcoholic. I just really love it. I think it brings something new to the game. The flavor is great. I didn't taste a lot of pineapple. I think the one thing that is a little bit convoluted is that it is considered a beer. But when you look at it, you understand beer. And when you're around this beer world, there are many different types. I felt like the taste was really good. And I'm going to give it a score of a 4.0.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a 3.5. I definitely like the taste of the beer. This is a particular style where I have high expectations on this style. So there's a lot of these beers out there. I've been drinking a lot of them overall the past couple of years. I think this kind of is right in the middle, 3.5.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Travel Man Dan. I'm going to give this a solid 4 all day long. For what it is, they're calling it a Berliner Weiss. You know, it's not in the, to me, it's not in the sour category. If I was judging it as a sour, I would rate it a little bit lower. But because it is what it is, this is a 4 all day long. This is something that it's crushing waves. I could crush this beer. I could have a few of these. Hot summer day, I'm drinking these.
Yeah,
love it, man. All right, we'll go to the price. Look, it was a gift from us from Brian, the beer snob. So ultimately, I would like to give it a 5, but I'm just curious, how much was this beer can? One can of beer.
I think this came in a 4-pack, and I want to say that it was about $10 or $11 for the 4-pack.
Damn, dude, really?
That's
so
good.
It was not expensive at all, because these are these 16-ounce cans. These are pint cans, I think. Yeah. No, this says 12. No, there's no way. This says 12 fluid ounces. There's no way that's a 12. I have 12 fluid ounces. This looks bigger than 12 ounces.
16-ounce can.
All right, so let's say it's $10.50. We'll cut it down the middle. You're looking at $2.60 a can. I think that's pretty friggin' good, to be honest. Yeah, I'm giving it a score of a 4.0. Anything that you get 6% and higher at that kind of price, you know, if you have 2 or 3 of them, you're having a good night. 2.6 or $2.60, great. 4.0.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to do 4.0 as well. Same reason. 6.3%. You got a fairly decent beer, a 16-ounce can. 4.0.
Yeah, and my take on how much it costs versus what you're getting for your paying for. Anything that's higher than 4 or 5% alcohol, it's going to be, you're going to get more bang for your buck, in my opinion. And this, with the price range that it was, this is a fantastic bargain for that amount of alcohol. I mean, it's not off the charts. We're not talking 10% alcohol, but what you're getting at 6.3%.
It's a 30% difference.
Yeah, you're getting more for your money. This is a solid buy.
It is.
Oh, nice. All right, so now going with the design. Look, we already talked about it real quick. I love this design. Like I said, I've been around like the major graffiti artists of the world, being in LA and stuff like that. I love this 90s splash, kind of what it's called. It's cool. Crushing waves, the sound waves. Love the can. I think it's interesting. I'm giving it a score of a 4.0.
I'm going to go a 2.0.
Oh,
I do not care for graffiti as much as you do. If I did, I'd probably fall closer to like Mr. Brainwash, something like that.
I met Mr. Brainwash.
Did you through the gift shop or exit through the gift shop, whatever it's called? Anyway,
no, I met him during his height of his thing. He would come to our nightclub. He was a
really?
bizarre fella. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a bizarre fella. But anyway, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. The whole 90s hip hop spray paint thing is not for me. 2.0.
Here's my question. You're very connected, Dan, with the graffiti movement. I've been all over the country, and it seems like whenever you see graffiti, like the font is the same all across the country. Is there an official graffiti school, or what's going on with that?
There's
like
no
how it
real
says
school.
Crushing Waves. It's like that font. That's on every train that runs through every state in the United States. It's the same font. How do they know this?
Look, I mean, there's a style to do that, and it's like there's a tag. I'm not the aficionado, so I'm probably the wrong guy. But I've been around a lot of these guys. There are some like crazy muralists that have branched off from that, and I don't want to say like gang, and I don't want to say like just a tag like this particular style, because you're right, it's all over. But there are guys that are true artists with a paint can, and like you would not believe some of the murals that these people are putting out there. This is kind of like I don't want to say beginning, because I couldn't do it. I mean, but it's just like the startup of your traditional graffiti that started back in the early '80s when hip hop formed in New York City. So yeah, I guess it's a standard approach. We'll say that.
Yeah, when I heard the beer was called Crushing Waves, in my mind, before I ever looked at the can, I'm thinking Crushing Waves probably like you would in California. I'm thinking like surfboards on the wave out there surfing. And when I looked at the can, I'm like, what are they talking about? But then you see you got the headphones with the sound waves going between it. Oh, they mean sound waves. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a sound wave thing, not a ocean wave thing.
Yeah. Well, moving on, guys. Now we're going to popularity. Remember, we fused these two together. Popularity, I think, is probably a good beer in Georgia. I think people will definitely know about Pontoon Brewing in Atlanta. But in terms of the world, I don't know how much they know about it in the United States. I don't know how much is widely populated throughout the world. I think it's got a good taste to it, but I'm going to give it, unfortunately, a score of a 2.0.
So I can give you a little bit of information there, Danny. On Untappd, they did get 4,000 check-ins.
It's pretty good.
Particular beer, which I think it's not bad, right? Like, especially in the Georgia, the Atlanta area, there's probably a high level of competitiveness there. And for this to be a fruited sour, I don't know, Brian, is this one of their flagship beers? Is this a seasonal?
No.
Okay. So the fact it's got 4,000 check-ins with a score of a 3.71, I'm going to assume that they're quite popular in their area. They might not be nationally, but they probably have a very strong local presence. So for that, I'm going to give them a 3.0.
Nice. Okay. Brian, what's your take on it?
Well, I can't speak for the nation in general. I can only speak for here in Georgia. But Pontoon is a very popular brewery in the Atlanta area. So if you ask anybody here about Pontoon, they're going to know about it. It's That's definitely cool. All over the radar here. So it's highly popular here.
Great. Awesome. I love it. All right. The TMD X Factor. Look, 5.0. Absolutely. I'm not even going to question it. It was a gift. We got the guy who gifted it us on the show. We're talking about it. I've never been to Pontoon Brewing. I love Atlanta. I'm going to give it a 5.0.
Yeah, I'm going to go a 4.0. And I'm going to do it because of the style of the can. Not a big fan of it. I don't know what it is. It's too cartoony for me. I don't know. I'm not a cartoon guy. I like things a little bit elevated. So for me, 4.0.
Little things elevated. Ooh,
I do like attractive can art. And when I look at this, for me, I'm a simple person. So when I look at this, I mean, it looks like there's a lot going on here, and that kind of confuses my brain a little bit. You know what I like? I like if it's a beautiful can art or if it's a simple can art. There can be like that point in the middle where it kind of loses my interest.
Right here.
I like simple, or I like really fantastic. For me, this falls in the middle. I mean, if I was going out of 5, I'd give it a 2.5.
Here's the best one right here.
Yeah. I mean, that one, I like that one a lot.
It's simple, but if the beer's that fantastic, you don't have to have an ultra fancy label. If it's fantastic, hey, Pliny the Elder, that's a super simple label. That's a top shelf IPA all day, all night.
It is
everywhere.
Lunch is great. I mean, to be honest, and I'm going to go out to Dave's TV. I love Abita. Abita has they incorporate the crocodile in all their labels.
Yeah.
But hey, It's a score, guys. Here we go. Pontoon Brewing from the Crushing Waves. I gave it a 19. There we go.
I'm at 16.5.
16.5. Okay, not a bad score. We're not holding Brian, the beer snob, to going ahead and scoring because he doesn't score. He just tells you straight like it is. Is a regular guy telling you, but what we are holding them to is drinking another beer. So
That's good,
sit back,
this one was
relax.
empty.
We got another beer coming up, guys. Also from Atlanta. Get your cup going. I do want to go ahead and make a quick disclaimer. You may like this. This may upset you. You may be pissed off at this. But remember, being pissed off is better than being pissed on. So I do want to go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about a little small change that's happening here on the show. It is called the Weekly Beer Show. But me and Nate have been in talks about going sober for 30 days. We just wanted to try it. We just want to see what it's like. So being the fact that there's so many non-alcoholic beers, and if you don't know about this, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to it. For the next 30 days, so after today, the next 30 days will be the show on the 9th, the show on the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th will all be some type of non-alcoholic beer or alcohol. That's right, I said that, alcohol. I know it sounds kind of weird, but they have non-alcoholic tequilas and stuff, but we really have to kind of overlook ourselves and take a good look at it because if we continue on this pace, well, we don't want to go ahead and promote alcoholism. That's a serious offense. You know, it's people out there that watch the show, they might get the wrong impression. And number two, we want to introduce you to these non-alcoholic beers. Nate, there are so many crazy non-alcoholic beers out there. I was at Bevmo this morning, and there were 16 different of them. Okay, I counted 16 different types of non-alcoholic beers. So for the next...
I was at our local grocer, Danny. I think I saw 9. And like I tell you right now, it's not a place where they stock a ton of beer, you know. Yeah. So there's a lot of options out there, and I think people will find it exciting. There's a lot of good ones,
except for Carlos. Look, sobriety is not for quitters. It's funny to say, but in all honesty, look, we're not quitting shit. All right, me and Nate, I know him for 22 years, something like that. We've put in our time. Okay, I've done it all between. The Jägermeister shots in the 90s and in the, the Goldschlager and from then on forth, So we know what it's like to be drunk and drink alcohol, but we really want to investigate this non-alcoholic. Same great show. We're going to do all the same segments. We're just going to be doing non-alcoholic beers. So the next alcoholic beer, if you must know, will be November the 6th. Okay. Hope you guys can still tune in, check out our show. We're going to have another great guest, and we're also going to go super hard for December. We're tossing around the idea. Brian, what do you think of this idea of an advent calendar, a new beer every day until Christmas?
I've never done one on my show personally, but I know a lot of channels do. I've wanted to do one. I just didn't know if I'd be able to pull that off. Like I say, my videos are kind of editing intensive. And if I had to put in that kind of work every day of December, I think it would do me in. But kudos, if you guys can pull it off, I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, from personal experience, it's one of the hardest things I ever did here in the YouTube realm. I did 25 episodes of Reading Man Dan, my reading kids books. Nate remembers I shot some of his, and I had to read 25 children's books, but I also had to edit them, and I had to have them out consecutively day after day after day. And I'm telling you, it was the hardest thing. Our beer advent calendar will be a little bit of edited. It'll be a little bit of live, but yeah, that's the news, guys. Hope you guys are okay with that. Let's get into today's beer while we still can. It does have alcohol. Mm-hmm. All right. So this one, we haven't done this style of beer in quite some time. This is also from Brian the Beer Snob, who sent us this one. It is from the Georgia Beer Company, and it's called Destress Express Coffee Milk Stout. Ooh, yeah. Check that out.
Express. And just before we were talking about Midnight Train from Georgia.
I'm on a midnight train to Georgia.
And now we're drinking the Destress Express.
Yeah, the Destress Express. I need to de-stress. What's the alcohol content on this one, Nate?
This one is 6.5. Sorry.
right, so definitely above our 6%, which seems to be our Brian. I don't know what you do on your show, but anything for us that's above 6% seems to go ahead and start to get you, a little buzz quicker.
Yeah, the numbers seem minuscule when you're talking the difference between a 4% and a 6.5%. And like I say, if you've lived your whole life drinking natural light or something like that, you probably don't even know what the ABV of it is, because it's those beers are meant to be drank in mass quantity. But with other beers, it's amazing how just going up like 2% in ABV, how much sooner you're going to start feeling the effects of it. So you don't have to buy as many of them to get, where you want to be. I got better things I want to do every night instead of making 20 trips to the bathroom because I just drank 12 gallons of beer and I'm finally starting to feel something,
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and crack this, sniff it, and taste it.
Boom. Second.
Okay. Yeah, it smells like a stout. It smells rich aroma.
Yeah. Coffee, chocolate.
Yeah. And here's the thing I wanted to mention before. I like doing the hard pour now too, but I only like to do it when the cup to can ratio is higher, because I know that this 12-ounce can is probably going to produce 6 ounces of foam. So I got this really big cup or glass, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go do a hard pour myself right here.
I want to see if you can get the foam up to the top of the glass, Danny.
I did a hard pour on this, and it did not get a big head on it at all.
What was he going to get?
That's actually quite a very small head for the.
That's nice, though.
That looks beautiful. And see,
look at that.
That's the important thing I try to stress with all of my viewers is you don't know how beautiful it is unless you get it into a glass.
Yeah, that is, man. You know what it's like? It's like when you're dazed and confused. You're not confused, but just dazed, I guess, watching the fire,
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the nose after you pour it like that, you can smell it through the whole room.
Yeah.
It's strong. It smells strong. It's just that heavy molasses kind of, it's almost like a sourdough kind of scent.
See, I think molasses is a good point, Nate. All right, well, so now do I wait for the foam, or do I just put my mouth on? No, just drink it right through the foam.
I would just dive right into that.
The foam's good, man. Get that shit.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and try it. We are drinking from Georgia Beer Company, the Coffee Milk Stout, Destress Express. Cheers.
Tons of coffee in the nose. Holy shit. Tons of coffee. It smells like a Starbucks.
Oh, that's delicious.
For me, this thing is just dancing all over my tongue. This thing is full of flavor. I do drink my coffee black. I have to say that because I know a lot of people like to put cream and sugar. To me, this has that little bit of a bitterness like a black coffee would, but it's not. I like black coffee, so I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this beer right here. If you guys don't like black coffee, you're probably thinking it's not really your thing.
No, I love black coffee. You know what? This one, I love Vietnamese coffee. It's very good. It's delicious. It's the smoothness of it. All right, like where you had this one was like cracking with crisp flavor, and this thing has got some like smooth, velvety kind of flow to it.
Yeah. Right.
When you're drinking it, like it's really, really good. It beats the pants off of Guinness.
Oh yeah, Guinness. I know a lot of people who've actually been to Ireland and they said, "Oh, the Guinness over in Ireland is better than what we get here." And I get that. It's going to be fresh there. You're getting it on tap over there. It's going to be great. I get that. But over here, for me, for what I can get, a Guinness it has a very watery mouthfeel. It's very thin. Yeah. There are plenty of stouts out there that have much more body that I find to be way better. But Guinness is the OG. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from it. It is the OG. And
it's also 5%, Brian. It's a 5% stout that's dry, right? So the recent craze, and this is one is in particular is doing the same thing, is more of a dessert stout, pastry stout, milk stout, where they're really trying to highlight the sweet side of the stout. Whereas something like a Guinness, that's 5%, very low carbonation, nitro, and they're just it's a dry stout. It's a different ballgame. It's a completely different beer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You want to try a good stout, Ryan? This is the one that I think holds the bar. I think it's the best one that we've drank on this show, and it's from Al Smith out of San Diego. It is called Speedway Stout.
It's really good.
It is phenomenal. To me,
12%, Danny. So a stout like that, you're talking
12%.
Completely different beers.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is 6.5%. That is not in the same category as an imperial pastry stout. Right. Like it's just not. This is in the same category as something like a Guinness. Right. Or maybe not. The Guinness is going to be drier, but this is in that milk stout category. There's a pretty popular brand out there called Dragon's Milk. Have you guys tried that?
I
haven't. I've heard of it though.
That's what this is like.
Okay. Who is that by?
The brewery is Dragon's Milk, I think.
That was like the first bourbon barrel stout that I actually liked. I didn't become a snob. Just to say,
you're awesome. You're not a snob.
To me, like if you look at my channel logo, I wear a pinstripe suit and a top hat and a monocle because in my mind that's what a snob looks like. But me, the person, Brian the beer snob, I'm not snooty. I'm not going to turn my nose up. I just want to try all of the things that for decades I refused to even entertain the thought of tasting because I knew that Keystone Light was the best tasting beer out there. Because at one time, that's who I was. That's who I was. I've come a long way. Because Keystone. I mean, I was a light beer drinker, and I was like, well, when I see people drinking these. What is that? It's the Michelob Ultras. And I'm like, why are you drinking that? It's like, oh, it's got 2 carbs or something. I'm like, dude, if you're drinking beer because you're trying to watch your weight, that's probably not the best angle for you because you're going to drink 47 of those Mich Ultras. Why don't you just drink one really decent full fat? I always say full fat. I mean, I haven't found a beer yet that's got fat in it, even though on the labels I see them say fat 0.0 grams. But I say, give me a full fat beer with all the calories, all of the goodness that is a beer, and I'm just going to drink one of those as opposed to drinking 12 Mich Ultras. Because if they're 90 calories a piece, by the time I drank 12 of them, well, this isn't a math channel. I don't know what 12 times 90 is, but it's a lot more than I'm going to get out of this one delicious, super flavorful beer that's going to put me where I want to be, and I don't need to drink 12 of them. You know what I mean?
Danny and I were talking about this about a year ago. Pretty sure
980.
I was sitting outside in my little fire pit, and I was like, dude, we got to investigate the whole one beer versus drinking multiple beers, right? Where you can get an AleSmith like that, and you can sit outside in your backyard. You can get it cold. You can put it into the best glass that you have, take the first sip. It's right out of the fridge. It's hitting your palate a certain way. But by the time that this thing gets down to the bottom right about here and you're sitting outside, the flavor profile changes. It's a different beer.
Yes. I recently reviewed a Goose Island Bourbon County. It's called their double barrel, where it's aged for 1 year in a bourbon barrel. Then they age it for another year in a toasted bourbon barrel. And I knew when it came out of the fridge and we were reviewing it and it was cold, I said, this is delicious, but I can just tell that when this warms up, it's going to taste better. But my reviews are kind of, just a couple of minutes long. So what I did was I left some in my glass. I left it on the bar. The next morning, I came down. It was completely room temperature. I finished that and I said, wow, this flavor at room temperature is just, there's so much more to it. The refrigerated aspect of it kind of toned down all those flavors, but a real stout that's got a lot of flavors in it, you got to let those things warm up. That's why I say that there's beers you want to guzzle, and those are the cheap, low alcohol beers. There's beers you don't want to guzzle. You don't want to guzzle a delicious stout because you want that thing to warm up. you want to take an hour to drink a 12-ounce beer, because as it's warming up, you're getting more and more out of it that you're going to miss if you just slam it down the hatch and it's over with. You're going to miss out on how it kind of comes alive. It's like when you pour it in the glass and it's cold, it's like a baby. You know, it's it's
like
good,
that.
but as it warms up, it's maturing. And then when you get down to the bottom, it's like reached adulthood, and now it's like becomes super magnificent. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing for liquor, right?
Yeah.
So you can get a bottle of bourbon that is an entry-level bourbon, right? Where there's not a ton of body, there's not a ton of character to it, but you're still getting those basic bourbon profiles, right? But then you can elevate yourself to a better bourbon.
Yeah.
And there's a better bourbon, there's a rarer bourbon. It's the same thing with the beer, right? Like the macros are not bad beers. The reason why we shit on them is because they're taking the shortcut. They know that they're providing something for the average consumer that doesn't want anything out of the ordinary. And there is a massive market for that. The majority of the country is that market.
They don't care.
The world is that market.
Yeah, they don't. They literally don't care if it tastes like a sewer or a rat tail. They're going after that ethanol alcohol that makes you feel good. You know,
water. Yep. They're going after slightly flavored water. That look at hard seltzer. What is that? All it is slightly flavored carbonated water that has alcohol in it. Shitty alcohol, to be honest. The fact that people like that's fine. Everybody has their opportunity to do that. But for me, there's better stuff. Why not go for the better stuff?
I always say the best time to look for a job is when you have a job.
Yes.
Because then you don't have to take the first job that's offered to you. You have some negotiation power, right? So like when you first got into drinking beer, like I say, I don't know anybody who started out drinking top shelf beers. Granted, I'm probably older than you guys, so the craft beer scene when I was young was not there. So we just drank what we could get, and that we're talking Busch and Bud and Coors and Miller, that kind of thing. But if that's what you start out drinking and you develop a taste for it, that's like having a job. Some people won't be happy with the job that they have currently, so they'll start looking for something else. So they'll try other beers. Most other people, that's their beer, that's their job. They're just going to stick with it. They're going to make their whole career out of that. And those are the people I'm just trying to reach. I'm like, I know you think that's what a good beer tastes like, but honestly, there's so many different flavors of beers that you just might like it. And I always get this response. Well, I don't like beer that tastes like other things. I like beer to taste like beer. And I'm like, wait a second, hold up. Do you drink hard alcohol at all? And they're like, well, yeah, I like rum. I'm like, okay, so you only drink it straight. They're like, no, I like rum and Coke. Okay, you like rum that tastes like other things. You like rum that tastes like Coke, but you don't like beer to taste like other things. This is still beer. This is still beer. This has a different flavor than a Miller Lite does. It's still beer. It just tastes like other things. And that's okay, because other things taste good too. That's the whole nut I'm trying to crack, is just trying to get other people that would never even think about trying it to just give it a go.
It's a tough nut to crack. I'll be honest. These people that are into their Keystone and their Busch, and Dave Z from Beer in Front says Schlitz. Brian, this is a perfect opportunity. I don't know if you've met Dave from Beer in Front. He is my favorite podcast out there. He talks about beer. Nate loves him. He's awesome. He's been a guest on our show. He's a really, really good guy out of Chicago. You got to get in touch with this guy. Maybe you can hop on his podcast. He can hop on your show. Very well connected in the Chicago scene, but just another regular dude, knows a lot about beer. Definitely, you have to reach out to this guy, or we got to put you in touch with this guy. I think both you and Dave's TV would really, really be good on his show, just as anybody would that likes talking beer, because he's we do a lot of bells and whistles on this show. We're about to get into some more, but Dave Z really gets into the beer, so I think he'd be perfect for it.
Well, if he's in the Chicago area, that is perfect because we had the first annual Beer Tuber get together here at my Hardport Pub this past July, and the second annual one is going to be in Chicago next year. And if he's in the area, I would love to have him join us.
What month is it?
Those details are still being hammered out. It's being put together by another channel that's in the Chicago area, and it's going to be fantastic. What we do is we're just a bunch of beer tubers that are going to congregate on one particular location. It's going to mean we're going to do lots of cross-channel collaborations. We're also going to go tour a lot of breweries in the Chicago area, and I can tell you, Chicago has a fantastic beer scene. Hop Butcher for the World is one of my favorite breweries. They make it's decadent. Their beers are just decadently delicious, and I would really like it if he could come. I'll get in contact with him. I'm going to watch this on the replay. I'm going to write down everybody's names. I'm going to go out and follow them and subscribe to their channels. And
please sign us up. Me and Nate will be there, and for the entire beer tube community and stuff like that. We would love to be there in Chicago. Matter of fact, I'm sure we can all just stay at Dave Z's house. I mean, I think he's okay with that. No, but that sounds something that if you can include Nate and I on this, if we know a few months in advance, we can definitely make the travel preparations. Guys, this is what we're drinking. We're drinking from Georgia Brewing Company. It is a Destress Express. It's a pretty decent milk stout. The coffee flavored. It's delicious. Nate, can we go on a brewery tour?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, guys. So Georgia Beer Company. There's their credentials. They have a website. It's not bad. IG. They got an Instagram account. They got a Twitter account. Check them out. Both of them are Georgia Beer Co. As we move on to the next slide, you can see they are from Valdosta. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Brian?
Valdosta,
Georgia. That is obviously in the south part of the state. Very different from Atlanta and Sandy Springs that we just talked about. Today's beer is the Destress Express. There's a beautiful picture of it right there. It is a stout. Comes in at weighs in, clocks in, whatever you want to say. It's 6.5%. 1,000 check-ins. So there's a bit of notoriety for this beer, I would imagine. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about the Georgia Beer Company. Do you know a lot about that brewery, Brian?
All I know is that I've had several of their beers, and I've not been disappointed yet. Valdosta is very far for me. That's down closer to the Florida state line, but I do pass through there when I'm driving to Florida, and maybe I need to get off the interstate there and check them out on my next trip down.
There you go. So this one, 1,000 check-ins, 3.96 out of 5. That's a good score. It's a particularly good score for a stout. So I wanted to kind of follow up with that a little bit and show you some of the credentials on how we came with those numbers. Here is their Untapped score. You see they have 1,086 ratings, score of a 3.96. All aboard for a beer packed full of flavor. A healthy mix of base and specialty grain brings a rich and roasty malt character together with the mild bitterness of locally roasted coffee beans. Milk sugar is added to balance the flavor with a creaminess that will make this sweet stout your favorite new dark beer. It's definitely sweet. Danny, Brian, are you getting a sweetness to this beer?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. To me, like I say, I drink my coffee black, but to me, this tastes like it has a little bit of creamer in it. But it's not too sweet. It's just sweet enough.
Right. About the Georgia Beer Company. So wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about, how they describe themselves in their About Us segment or section of the website. Georgia Beer Company is the southernmost brewery in the state.
Nice.
We brew most of our beers true to traditional style, but with as many Georgia-grown ingredients as we can get our hands on. Our founders, Chris Jones and Jack J. Rice Martin, I like that, met while attending college at Valdosta State University. After graduating, Valdosta. There we go. They both started careers and families, and their friendship grew stronger. But in 2014, the duo hatched a plan to become Valdosta, Georgia's first brewery, and began brewing beer in Jay Rice's garage. Again, another story of people collaborating as friends and taking it to their garage. I feel like this is like a song Weezer should do about craft beer.
Look at this guy.
Here's a couple of guys, Chris and Jay Rice on the left. I don't know. Can we throw fucking Danny in the middle of that? I feel like he would just be perfect in that picture. And
He's wearing lederhosen.
Over here with
he is wearing a lederhosen.
Yeah, he's probably Oktoberfest 7 years ago.
Those guys are cranked, bro. The two of the faces are beat red.
So there's Forrest Swan. First of all, Forrest Swan.
What the hell? That is a great name.
Forrest Swan. He's the head brewer. Of course he is with that fucking name.
Oh, look at him, dude. Imagine that guy in middle school, Swan Forrest, when during roll call. Like, anyway, say it. Forrest Swan, Swan Forrest. That's a bitchin' name.
Bitchin'. I know where you got that from. All right.
Tits.
So
what about tits, man?
I don't know why I put this in here. It's really not that impactful. But they're located.
Bro, thanks, man. I needed to see this.
In Valdosta. I don't know why I put that in there. Here we go. So their flagships and their canned beer. So you can see the Destress Express is one of them, but they've got Field Party, which is a blonde ale. I'm a massive fan of blonde ales.
Field Party.
Tropical IPA, the Destress Express Coffee Milk Stout, Raspberry Field Parfait blonde ale, which
Field Party.
Is fucking awesome. Throwing some raspberry into a blonde ale, I think, is a great idea. St. Helens, the Oktoberfest option, which is a Marzahn, Danny's favorite style beer. And we have a Blueberry Field Parfait that's also a blonde ale. So there's their beers. There's their beautiful brewery, which I absolutely love the outside of that place. It is just, I don't know. I would want a brewery in that building.
Yeah. Look, I'm just going to touch on a couple of their beers real quick. Field Party's a fantastic name. Love it. Blonde blueberry things are just popping up everywhere. Almost every brewery is doing them. They're so good. But you know what is really good, guys? Moving the show along. Let's get into it's time for your favorite, my favorite, everybody's favorite. What would you rather? Georgia edition. All right. Let's get it on, Nate. All these are based on Georgia. I'm going to give you a ticket. You can go to one of these places. Let me know in the comments now or after the show. Go ahead and let me know. I'll always respond back. Where are you going to go? You're going to Georgia, baby. Would you go to ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, all right? The big metropolitan city. You can see they got some skyscrapers. Look at the architecture. It's a bit of colonial A-frame style homes. They have that Gothic kind of pop out on the top of that triangle. Very cool. Now, this is probably the very historic section of Atlanta, but you can see it's a very metropolitan city. But then if you look off into the picture to the right and the picture previous, you can see they have some suburbs where they have a lot of trees. And, right there, probably this picture was taken in the fall. Or would you rather go to one of the most beautiful places in the world, Savannah, Georgia? Okay. Now, this is the quintessential Southern town. I've been there a few times. I played baseball there. You can see the churches there. So it's definitely a very faith-based city, I think. But take a look at the Spanish moss trees. Okay, I don't know what they're called exactly, but the Spanish moss is that weird moss that you see dangling. Now, this picture is very picturesque. You've probably seen it in Good Night in the Garden of Evil movie. Off to the right, another historic place in Savannah, Georgia, over by the university. I believe it's over by Savannah Art and Design. Could be wrong, but I think that's where it is. I haven't been SCAT. Yeah, I haven't been there in a while. I played baseball in North Carolina, so we played a lot of schools around Georgia and South Carolina. I played in both of these cities. I like Atlanta. Yeah, I like Atlanta a lot. But
did you guys play the Savannah Bananas? Because those guys are awesome.
They're getting. I didn't play them, and they weren't doing what they're doing now. But I've seen.
Okay. Well, now they're hot.
Yeah, now they're red hot. But for me, you know what? I'm starting to ditch the big city. I'm getting older. If it wasn't for the entertainment and what I want to do as an actor, I wouldn't even live in LA. I'd be living in some mid-tier, smaller city like Savannah. So I'm going Savannah all the way.
Yeah, I'm doing Savannah. I found I was recently searching on Zillow, and I found a house that it just encapsulates Savannah. There's a beauty of the southern. I don't know. There's something about the southern traditional kind of element that I like. For me, absolutely Savannah, 100%. I would not go to ATL.
Well, I go to ATL 5 days a week, so I'm going to say, give me Savannah. I want to try something new, and it looks nice.
Yeah, you've never been there, Brian?
Well, it's like a 5-hour drive from here, and when I did used to live in North Carolina and would drive home to Florida, I would kind of pass through there. But I was on the way to Florida. I didn't want to stop and waste any time, so I drove through there, but didn't stop. But looking at these pictures, I definitely want to go check it out now.
You should go tomorrow morning. Wait till you're done and sober up and go in the morning. All right, go with number 2, guys. All right, both of these guys are very famous. Who do you like better? What sound do you like better? This is a really tough one to me because I absolutely love these guys. What would you rather go with? Number 1, Ray Charles, baby. All right, iconic piano player, singer, songwriter, amazing. You already know Ray Charles. Or would you go to one of my favorite artists of all times, James Brown? Look at him. Look how sexy he is. Huh? Look at that. He's got that zipper down 70s, like, I don't know, romper thing. And then, of course,
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, that's Rocky 4, baby. My favorite movie ever. Okay, Rocky 4, just one of
Living in America.
Yeah, Living in America. Yeah, and he comes out. Of course, Apollo died shortly after that. Yeah, Nate, get it, Nate. Okay, all right. This one's tough because I love Ray Charles. I love the oldies. I love the classics. But Rocky 4, like I said, is one of my favorite, if not the favorite movie. It's going to be James Brown for me, guys.
How did you not mention that Ray Charles was blind? So
I think if you know Ray Charles, you know he's blind.
By the way, Ray Charles was blind. So for me, I saw James Brown in concert, Danny. I saw him live.
You did?
Yeah, I saw him live in Woodstock '99. He was the first act that I saw.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Were you dancing? Show me your dance moves. Oh, you went with the finger tootsie. What is that? Yeah. Brian, who are you going with, Nate?
Can I get any whiter than that? All right. No. I don't know. I think I've already seen James Brown, so I got to go Ray Charles. By the way, he was blind.
Thanks.
Well, I got to say that if I'm just listening to their music, I do like Ray Charles' music better. But if I want to go, if I had the opportunity to see him live, I think James Brown would put on a much more exciting, energetic show that I would probably enjoy a lot more.
Yeah, and you know, the Dave's TV chimes in. Damien says it the best, James Brown, but it's really close.
Both of them are phenomenal acts, by the way.
Phenomenal, dude. I go listen to Ray Charles all the time, like when I'm driving and stuff. But James Brown, dude, it's like, you know, like my feet start dancing. I just can't help it, dude.
He had a charisma that is you just don't, you don't see a lot of it anymore.
Amazing. All right, going number 3. We're going back to Georgia. This one is another tough one because I absolutely love these flavors. I love these two things. What you gonna have, guys? You're going to have a little piece of Georgia pecan pie. Okay, you can have it straight out of the glass dish with the pie crust. It's delicious. Or you can have it right to the right of that one with a scoop of ice cream.
A la
mode. Or you're going to go with the other famous one that's in Georgia, the peach cobbler. Okay, delicious. You know, as I get older, my teeth are breaking down, so it's a little nicer to eat a peach cobbler. It's a little softer. But man, it's tough, man, because pecan pie is my favorite dish. Top three.
Is it?
Yeah, I like that. I like German chocolate cake.
Oh man, me and you are the same. Are we the same guy?
Yeah, maybe. You
guys are the same guy.
We're the same, and I like Hostess pies a lot. But I'm going with the pecan pie.
All right, I'm going to do the peach cobbler. I love pecan pie. It's maybe my favorite. but there's something about the peach cobbler. Peach cobbler is not anywhere I've ever lived. It's not something I'm constantly getting options to eat. So for me, I would want to be down in Georgia eating a peach pie, a signature variety in some kind of great diner. Give me that.
Well, I can tell you, the pecan pie is my absolute favorite pie, and I absolutely love it. But if you offer me a peach cobbler that's fresh out of the oven, and you throw that ice cold scoop of ice cream on top of it, so you got the cold ice cream, the hot peach cobbler, I'm afraid I would choose that first. But if they were both room temperature, give me the pecan pie all day long.
Yeah, that's. Can you guys hear me? First of all,
we can hear you. We can't see you, Danny.
I'm here. I don't know what happened. I am here though. Let me check.
You want to continue?
Yeah, let's keep it rolling. I'm not sure what happened. I'm trying to add myself to the stream. Let's keep moving on. The next one, which would you rather? Guys, I'm talking about some fun stuff here. Going back to school. Where would you rather go? Georgia Tech.
Dangerfield.
Yeah, would you rather go to Georgia Tech, the old Triple Lindy, okay, and nice, prestigious technical college? You got the yellow jacket, or are you going to be a Bulldog and go to the University of Georgia? Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people got Georgia on their mind, especially recently if you follow sports.
Yep.
I consider myself more of an engineer brain. Like I have the technical engineer mind. So I'm going to go with Georgia Tech for that.
The Rambling Wreck from Georgia Tech.
I never heard that. So I'm going to go Georgia Tech just because they're called the Yellow Jackets. How many other teams that you've ever heard of are called, they name themselves after a Hornet? So for me, that's pretty cool. Bulldogs, I love Bulldogs. My high school mascot, I still have the record for most three-pointers in a game for the Northern Lehigh Bulldogs.
I love it.
But fuck the Bulldog. Give me a Hornet. Give me the Yellow Jacket. So for me, Georgia Tech.
Well, I'm not a native Georgian. I've just lived here for the past almost 25 years. The only Bulldog that I like is the Marine Corps Bulldog.
Nice.
That being said, the University of Georgia is located in over there by South Carolina.
Is it?
Georgia Tech is right in downtown Atlanta. I live in Metro Atlanta. I'm going for Georgia Tech because, to this date, the Georgia Tech football team has the highest score ever recorded in college football. They beat Cumberland College 212-0. Way back in 1903 or something like that.
Oh my God.
Andy, how many touchdowns is 212 points?
85? I don't know.
85? 85 times 7 would be 400 something.
That's a true fact.
Touchdowns. I thought you said field goals.
You thought I said field goals? All right, so what do you think? Out of 212 points, how many touchdowns?
212 points. I'm going to go with it's going to be 26 touchdowns.
I'm going to say 19.
All right, let's.
Does anybody know? Can anybody help us? I have no idea.
Is that 19. Cumberland? Is that in Maryland?
That's in Georgia.
Okay.
Maryland.
So 212. Let's just say if that was the score, divided by 7, it's 30 touchdowns. But that's not including field goals and safeties.
Right. Which in a game like that, you would assume there wouldn't be a lot of them.
Yeah. Moving on, guys.
Trivia.
Yeah. Usually we talk about spit, boogers, blood, something like that, really disgusting. But today I'm going to do a layup. It's a lobber. It's a beer show. What would you rather, an IPA or a stout? Okay. That one for me, although I love stouts, it's pretty easy. I love the IPA. I'm one of those guys that still drinks a lot of them. I am getting tired of them, but I'll always love them the most. IPA.
I'm going to be the oddball out and go stout.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we got Georgia Tech coming from Dave's TV. Mikey's Porn. Yes. Fellow veteran, stout for Bubba. Very nice, fellas. Very nice indeed. That's What Would You Rather. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed that episode of What Would You Rather. It's time to whack this Georgia beer down,
Yeah,
and let's get right to it.
All right.
All right. Taste.
I do like that.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I'm going right to a score. Listen, this thing is so silky smooth. It's creamy. It's delicious. It's what you want to refer somebody who's never tried a stout to. 4.0.
4.0 for me too.
I am completely de-stressed. I'm going 4.5.
Oh, hey now. All right, price, I don't know. It was free. It was a gift from Brian the Beer Snob, but this, I imagine, came in a 6-pack. How much
That
was
did come in a 6, yeah.
And do you remember what that cost was?
I think it was about $10 for the 6. So again, a completely economical beer.
All right, so if we divide that, it's $1.60. Nice beer, $1.65. I mean, look, where are you going to get it? It's a good beer. I love it. I'm going to give it a score of a 3.5.
Yes, Frank S. It is live. I'm going to go 3.5 as well. I think the price is worth the beer. 3.5.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little goofy as it is, but of course we did have the other one before, and it was also a 6-point-something beer, so that's got something to do with it. But if I had 2 of these, I'd be feeling the same way. So I'm digging it. I forgot where I was in the score.
I love it. Yes, Frank, this is live. Good to see you here, brother. This is the new time for the show. If you guys are just hopping on now, this is our regular time now. Next 4 weeks will be non-alcoholic beers. Nate and I are going dry, but we'll talk about that at the end of the show. Now it's time to go to the design. I don't know. This beer, it's pretty cool. It's got a neat design. One thing I like about the Georgia Beer Company is they stay consistent with all their beers. They're kind of the same style of font, the same separation, different colors, different logo. I think that's still pretty cool, but not overwhelmed by it. 3.0.
Yeah, and Danny, I appreciate that as well. Like there's some continuity. So when you're you're going to a 7-Eleven or your local grocery store in Georgia, you're able to kind of identify it very quickly. But other than that, I'm a little bit disappointed. It is kind of, I don't know. I think I can design this. And I don't have any creative ability.
Well,
No, that's not true.
So for me, I look at this. I don't know. It feels cartoony. It feels a little cheap in a way. For somebody like Georgia Beer Company, who's so prolific in the market, I think they would do a little bit better. But to emphasize that, Danny has a point that they have a continuity there, so I can appreciate it. So I'm not going to dig into too much. 3.0.
Well, the thing is, I mentioned before, I like really attractive can art, and I like simple. To me, this is simple. This is simple, but this is a beer. You could have multiple beers from the Georgia Beer Company in the cooler, floating around in the ice. They're all simple, but they're the same. The only thing different is this color is different. So if you know what color is what you want, you can go right to it. You don't have to pull beers out like, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. You can reach right for what you want. So that's a plus. That's a major plus for me. This is a 4.0.
All right, Mikey's Pouring Kitchen, who is an Army veteran of 20-some years. So the only thing I remember about Georgia was a good dang hot Fort Benning. I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Benning, but that's, I think, where he did his basic or he did some type of training there. So it's a good friend of mine that I grew up with, went to high school with, went at middle school with. And, good to have you here, Mike. All right, going with popularity 2.0. This beer you're not going to find. This beer you're not going to hear a lot about. Still good beer. Doesn't mean it's bad, but 2.0.
Yeah, so their untapped ratings have them at check-ins at a 1.1 thousand. So it's, for a specialty beer, and that's what I categorize stouts as, that's a specialty beer, whether we want to admit it or not. It's not the mainstay for beer, right? It's not. So for that 1.1 thousand, I think it's probably being distributed quite well throughout the state. You cannot probably get it outside of Georgia or anywhere outside of the Southwest. So for popularity, I'm going to go 2.5. I do think that they have a local market, but they likely don't, distribute much outside of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a localized beer. It's going to be a 2.0, but hopefully things grow, and hopefully other people will get hopefully the distribution grows, so hopefully other people can get hold of it because it is delicious.
Great beer. Great beer. All right, going to TMT X Factor. Like Brian the Beer Snob gave this beer to me. He's here on the show. I'd be an asshole if I didn't give it a 5.0. I'm doing it 5.0. That's it.
4.0 for me because of the art. I can't get past it. I hate the can.
And he doesn't like the Georgia art. Okay,
Did it
Brian,
de-stress you at all, though, Nate?
I'm sorry?
This is the Destress Express. Did it de-stress you at all while you were drinking it?
The can didn't, but the beer did.
All right, well, guys, the scores are in. Brian doesn't score them. Be sure to check out Brian the Beer Snob. He is on Twitter. He is on Instagram. But watch his channel, Brian the Beer Snob. This is what he gave us. This is what we scored. 17.5 for the Destress Coffee Milk Stout. Great beer. Definitely would recommend it. It is the winner today over the Crushing Waves. Both beers from Georgia. Very good. I would definitely recommend both of them. They both have different distinct flavors, different tastes. Definitely would enjoy it. Look, guys, today is going to be a special day because normally what we do is we did good news, but we passed that over. All right, I told you a little bit about what we're doing for the next month, non-alcoholic. We're going sober. Normally at this time, we would do what are you reading, what are you watching, what are you listening to? We're not doing this today. Because I got sick and because I was traveling, I couldn't do it from COVID. We're passing that up. We're going to skip it over. And unfortunately, we weren't able to really dive into the Oktoberfest, the beer holiday, right? But you could bet I'm probably going to be there either next year or the following year. So today we thought, you know what? What the hell? It's our show. Let's go ahead and introduce a third beer tonight. All right, so Brian just got back from vacation. He's got to go to work in the morning. Let's get him nice and hungover and ready to go. Let's bring up the third beer, guys. Today's third beer is an Oktoberfest beer, and each one of us have something different. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing the classic one. I'm doing the Sam Adams. You got the Yingling, and Nate has got, what is you drinking, Nate?
So I'm drinking the Rue Keller Marzen from the brewery, which is from Placentia, California, Danny, not Murrieta.
Oh, Placenta.
Where's that? Is it Placenta?
I've been there too.
There's Placentia.
I gotta see. I think it's Placiera.
It's Placentia.
I got the Turkish dagger.
I also have.
It fell off the wall. What the hell is that thing?
Dude, it's Oktoberfest. What are you drinking out of?
I love it. What am I drinking out of? Okay, I'll show you. A couple of you guys, I know Mikey's Porn Kitchen will like this. You remember when Luke Skywalker was standing over Jabba Hutt and asking him, or basically telling Jabba, release the Wookiee and Han Solo?
Was that Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, and the trap door opened up, and he fell down, and the Rancor was down below. I'll fix that later. But we don't have a Rancor. We have from Martin, all the way from Denmark, sent me this beautiful Buffalo Bills glass. If you could, you can't really see it. All right, but hey. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's whip through these Oktoberfests. Nate, what do you got there? Brian the Beer Snob. That's pretty cool too.
Sign, dude. What are you guys doing? You're bringing out shit from Buffalo. I don't know what Brian's got down there. He's got
an Oktoberfest beer, so I'm using my Oktoberfest, my German glass, my dimpled mug.
Guys, what I have. So Danny has the Marzahn, which is the Oktoberfest option from Sam Adams. Marzahn is going to be a little bit of a medium-bodied type of Germanic beer. It's going to have a little bit of color, like you just saw right there. It's a bit of an amber color. What I also have is a Marzahn from Brewery, which is out of Placentia, not Placenta, California. And I'm going to put it into this thing, this beautiful German stout.
Nine. There you go.
All right. So he's getting a little rowdy with Brian the Beer Snob. He's definitely feeling buzz. I like it. Man.
Yes.
That's the perfect pour right there.
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong.
Who
By the way,
thinks
that crept up really quickly.
Yeah. I've been tossing around this idea. Who thinks that we should do an episode on the Weekly Beer Show where Nate and I finish a case?
No. No. I would like to act like an adult sometime in my life, Danny.
Oh, that's what your 50s are for.
I'm there. I'm there already.
All right, guys.
I mean? Right, tell them there's time.
Can I drink out of my stein? So I'm doing a beer from the brewery. This is out of California. I really like this brewery. They did a whole kind of series of Oktoberfest. Marzahn is one of them. I saw them at Cerveza, the shirt that I'm wearing right here. And I love this style of beer. I think it's Danny's favorite style.
Definitely my favorite style.
Out of this stein is quite apropos.
Yes.
Oktoberfest, today being the last day of Oktoberfest. So yeah, I'm gonna drink out of this so you guys can talk.
Bubba says that'd be hilarious. Dude, I look at Nate in that silver thing touching his forehead. Okay. All right. Bubba said it would be hilarious. And Frank endorses the case idea. Cheers, guys. This is the Oktoberfest. Whoa, this thing's swirling.
This thing's swirling. All right, so you can see right here, we got a little slide.
Oh, that's so good, guys.
Bavarian Oktoberfest, which as we all know, originated in Germany, in Munich, Munchen, as they would say over there. Mm-hmm. But right there, you got the beautiful Bavarian pretzel, Danny, and it looks like a lager to me. And of course, the beautiful blue and white garland that they hang all over Oktoberfest.
And I got to say that those women that come out holding 20-liter mugs of that beer, that's truly impressive. Because if you've ever held just a single,
mugs is not a way to say boobs.
Well, let me tell you, because
Brian, what's going on?
I've got one of the liter mugs right here. The glass by itself is heavy. You put a liter of beer in here, that's really heavy. Those women that come out carrying like 20 of these,
it's amazing.
With a smile, I tell you what, I salute them all day and all night because they are something special.
I had a chance. I taught at a college here, I taught English, and I met a girl who was from Germany, and she was from Munich, and she worked. And Nate is just polishing it off, and she worked it, and she's like, "Yeah, we worked like the 2-3 weeks, and we would make as much as almost a year, like just off the tips and like,
really?
yeah. My friend,
They would make the same amount in Oktoberfest season as they would the entire year."
I mean, yeah, but she said they would do really well. It was, I think, I want to say something like between 10 and 12,000 euros for that 2 or 3 weeks. Really? Yeah, my friend Verona. Yeah, she was hot. Okay, yeah, I was her teacher. I was her teacher.
Hot.
Yeah, but hey, happy October. Look at that.
Dude, just tell you a little bit of statistics about Oktoberfest.
There you go. Look at Brian, the beer snob. Look at you got. The girl, she's holding 3 cleavage. Sorry, Nick, go.
Right there, she's holding 8 beers.
That's impressive.
No, nobody got that one.
Hey, Dan, if you're going to schedule a trip to Munich next year or the year after, you're going to go to Oktoberfest, give me a heads up warning. I don't want you going alone. I will accompany you. I will go.
All right. I really want to take the old man. Before, he's getting older.
The more the merrier. The more the merrier. As long as you don't mind me kicking along, I'll go.
So that's what I'm saying. We're going to get a bunch of beer tubers together in our audiences, and whoever wants to all just go over and just have, whatever. We don't have to go bananas. We go for 6 days and just get ripped.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So just a couple of stats we might want to share here for Oktoberfest as we drink these beautiful beers out of these beautiful steins. 6.4 million attendees show up for Oktoberfest in Germany, not around the world, in Germany.
Yeah.
85 times more than attended the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Now it's more than one day, right? So it's a little bit different. More popular than the population of Denmark. 25 times more than attended Martin Luther King Jr.'s I have a dream speech. I'm sorry, I did not read that before. The same number that attended the Sydney Olympic Games, 6.9 million beers consumed, 120,000 pork sausages, 6,500 people for each individual toilet, which is kind of a problem. Doesn't sound great, by the way, when you say these statistics. 100,000 festival hall seats, guys. Just want to talk to you a little bit about what Oktoberfest is. If you want to travel to Munich, you want to go to Munchen, you want to go there and you want to experience Oktoberfest, it is a festival of the highest degree. When you have 6,500 people and there's only one toilet per, that's a big deal.
Especially when everybody's drinking tons of beers, because Oktoberfest beers aren't really high in alcohol. They're meant to be drank.
Depends on which one.
All day long. So I don't know. I was last in Germany in the year 2000, but I wasn't at Munich. I was in Frankfurt. But I tell you what, the thing with men, the difference between men and women is, I'm just going to guess that the men just kind of find their way to the outskirts of the crowd and take care of business. The women are probably the ones lined up to use those toilets.
Well, don't forget it.
That's a bucket list item. I gotta go to Munich. I gotta experience Oktoberfest in its native environment. Yes, they do celebrate Oktoberfest in Nevada. They celebrate it in California. They celebrate it here in Georgia. They do. But if you want the real deal Holyfield, you got to go to Munich. That's the place.
Yeah, and don't forget, it's not only just like it's a festival, so day after day. So if you've been drinking a couple of days, we're not talking urinating. We're talking about the beer shits. You're you know what I mean. But my friend right here, Mikey's Kitchen, Food Porn, says the Strobing Beer Festival is a smaller beer festival. I think it runs at the same time as Oktoberfest, and it's in a different. He was based over there with the Army. And it was a smaller city. It wasn't the huge one. It was more local, and the beer was just as good. He says it's awesome. It's very family oriented, and if you like beer, that this is the place to go to. And I believe, Mike, that's the one. Yeah. So here he is saying some more stuff about it. Much better in the middle of Bavaria. 37 breweries, 27 beer tents. It's Germany's beer fest rather than the college drunk fest. So that's definitely something that I've heard Mike tell me about before, and like I said, I would love to explore that with going over there. So if we're going to go to one, we might as well go to both. What do you say to that, Brian?
I'm in. I don't need much advance notice. Just let me know if you're going. I'm going.
Oh man. Well, look, guys, I'm not going to keep everyone so much longer. Nate's going to be back in a second. I want to close out the show by giving you a quote of the week. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It comes to us from Sam Adams, none other than the guy who made this beer here. And he said, "Let no man thirst for a good beer." And that's absolutely what we say, and or what we feel as here on the show. Look, sometimes after a hard day's of work, you want a good beer. You know, you just come home, it's just crack a good, tasty beer. I suggest a Gillies, but whatever it is, whatever you like to drink, let no man thirst for a good beer, as Sam Adams would say. I'm definitely feeling a little buzzed. We haven't been here in a while, but I hope you take that quote, think about it this week. Nate, thank you so much for an awesome show, for taking us through the breweries, for taking us, for all the shit that you know and tell us about. We really appreciate that. And Brian the beer snob, what a pleasure, man. We really enjoyed it. We've gone later than we mostly go, but it's because we're around good company. And we just wanted to say thank you so much. We wish you continued success now that you've been here on the show. We're going to bring you back. We're going to help you grow. We're going to be friends. And thank you so much. And in closing, do you have anything to say?
Well, I thank you guys for having me on. And, it's been since 2009 since I've been to Vegas. I keep trying to go back. My wife wants to always go to places we never been. I'm like, well, but I like Vegas. I want to go to Vegas. But you know what? I do have family in Southern California, and I know you're out there, Dan. I mean, it would be awesome. Next time I'm out there visiting family, if we could hook up and shoot some content, that would be awesome. If not, That's okay. I do look forward to watching you guys' show, and thanks again for having me. And hopefully the viewers enjoyed it and learned some things. If not, hey, we'll try to teach them as we go.
Yeah, man, you are always welcome. And if you end up in LA, I'll be here. We'll definitely shoot some content. We'll definitely get together. And if they don't like it, well, I think they probably enjoy it. We'll just say that. We're gonna keep doing it, guys. Nate, thank you so much. Anything to say before we take off?
Yeah, see you next week. We're doing non-alcoholic beers.
Non-alcoholic beers. If you haven't heard, that was today's good news. Nate and I are going sober 30, baby. So for the next 30 days, we are going to be doing a non-alcoholic beers. So stay tuned. Still the same great show. We're just going to not have any alcohol. Thank you so much, Brian the Beer Snob, for being on the show. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for the beers. And as always, thank you everyone for hopping on and watching. I'm Travel Man Dan. That's Nate Peachtree. That's Brian the Beer Snob. And remember, it's a big world out there. Make sure you see every bit of it. Bye, guys.
Brian,
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey,
Have a
guys.
good one. Bye-bye.
Happy Oktoberfest. See you guys next